Okay, so I uninstalled Blender on my system so that I could show you how the download and everything works, so I can do a clean install. So let me go to our download page. And since I have 64-bit Windows machine, I'm just going to click Download Blender. Now you want to do this. Okay, so here is a thing. So this is official Blender, but do not join now. You do not need to join now. It might be a nice, if you're really into Blender, it might be a nice thing to support them later on, but do not join now. Notice that my Blender thing is started downloading anyway. So you do not need to go shopping, you don't need to donate, you don't need to do developer's blog. Okay, this is starting down here. Okay, when you do this, make sure you're on high-speed internet where you're not going to have to pay. You know, if you're at a hotel or something, just make sure that your parents aren't going to have to pay for something. Okay, once this is downloaded, this is the helper file, so it doesn't actually have all of Blender in it. I have to double-click on it and then run. Now it's actually going to set up and install it. I'm going to accept the terms of the license. It is a GNU General Public License, which is pretty standard. Well, it's designed to be standard. I'm going to have Blender and Blender Player in the places that it wants to put them. I'm not going to change those at all. All right, I'm going to click install. All right, now it's installing, and it's also downloading some things. I don't know if you saw that because it interrupted, but I had to click OK another time. So it's going to install and get new components, and this is going to take a while. So I'm going to pause the recording and I'm going to come back when this tells me it's done. Okay, and from that point on, I wasn't asked to do anything else until I got to this part, which was completed the Blender Setup Wizard. So I just let it go in the background and it finished. So I'm going to press finish. And let's see what it does. Oh, I have Blender. Blender is up here, so now I can open it up. Okay, so this is just a splash screen. It's going to give me information about it. Notice that there are manuals. You can look there for information, but we don't necessarily have to. Okay, so what has opened up? Again, I said there are going to be lots and lots of stuff, lots and lots of things all around that we're not going to use. What happens is it starts out, I'll just explain a little bit about what we have here. We start out with, this is like a sprite, but in this case it's a cube, and it's a basic primitive shape that you could work with. You could change its size and shape, you could change what material it's made from, you could add lights to this scene to make it give it shadows or make it shine, or all sorts of things. There's a camera. We're not going to work a lot with these things because we're going to, mainly for the next little bit, we're going to just walk through a very specific tutorial on getting you up and running in running Python. But I wanted to point out just a few things. When you look at Scratch, you will also see, you also have like a sprite window with lots of information about your sprite, just because it's differently arranged. So down here is my stuff about my sprite. That's just like in Scratch where I have a sprite in my window and then I have all this information underneath it. Just because it's arranged differently doesn't mean that there's more stuff here, but it really is what Scratch is doing with just more features. Okay, so it's kind of like Scratch is a Cessna airplane, which is like a little airplane that flies a couple of people, and this is like a jet plane, which has a lot more controls and stuff. But both of them are just going to do the same thing. They're both going to fly you from point A to point B. It's just that all these fancy controls are going to take a little bit of explanation. Okay, in the next video, I will walk you through setting up the environment so that it looks, so that all the windows are arranged in the proper way, so that we can get started on our on our tutorial on how to program. See you in a bit.